See, in today's lecture, we will be talking about the concept of positivism in the field of sociology. See, सबसे पहले जो original founding fathers of sociology, they advocated for the use of positivistic approach, positivism, in the domain of sociology, and there were multiple reasons behind as to why they advocated for use of positivistic methods in the field of sociology. Now, first thing is we have to understand कि आपकी जो syllabus है उसमें दो topics दिए गए हैं. First is science, scientific method and its critique, and the second topic is positivism and its critique, right? तो आपका जो फर्स्ट जो साइंटिफिक मेथड है उसकी हमने वेरियस फीचर्स पढ़ी थी. वी रेड अबाउट इंडक्टिव मेथड, राइट? वी टॉक्ड अबाउट यूनिवर्सल थियरीज. हमने बात की जब साइंटिफिक मेथड के कैरेक्टरिस्टिक्स और फीचर्स की बात कर रहे थे. वी ऑल्सो टॉक्ड अबाउट द यूज ऑफ वैल्यू न्यूट्रलिटी, ऑब्जेक्टिविटी. वी ऑल्सो टॉक्ड अबाउट एम्पिरिसिज्म, observation and experimentation. Now what positivism does is use all these characteristics in the domain of sociology, and they gave justifications as to why we are using this method, why these methods are desirable and possible, indeed possible, in the domain of sociology, which indeed studies human behavior, which as to my own account is quite dynamic in nature. Then how can we apply scientific methods in the domain of sociology? Because science deals with something that is rigid, that is predictable, right? The motions is predictable. When you will be talking about the planetary motions, you can actually predict. Kepler predicted it कि they will be moving in an elliptical manner, they will moving with a particular speed, they will move clockwise or counterclockwise, they will be rotating while moving, right? So how could we use these scientific methods in the domain of sociology? So the entire debate is this. So one school of thought, that is the positivistic school of thought, which was propounded by these founding fathers, Auguste Comte, Herbert Spencer and Durkheim, they advocated for these methods. Whereas the later schools of thought, they said that human behavior is dynamic and we can't actually use scientific method in the domain of sociology. So these will become the critique of sociology or the critique of scientific method in the domain of sociology. So this will be as the non-positivistic philosophies, non-positivistic methodology, and they will constitute the critique of positivism. तो आज के लेक्चर में हम देखेंगे कि जो पॉजिटिविज्म है ये जो डिफरेंट फीचर्स यूज करेगा साइंटिफिक मेथड की, इसके पीछे एक्सप्लेनेशन देगा, जस्टिफिकेशन देगा एज टू हाउ दिस फीचर्स आर पॉसिबल एंड इंडीड डिजायरेबल इन द फील्ड ऑफ सोशियोलॉजी. और इसमें क्या है, जब ये जो जस्टिफिकेशन दी जाएगी, वेरियस स्कॉलर्स विल बी कमिंग अप विद दिस जस्टिफिकेशन एंड दे देमसेल्व्स यूज दीज मेथड्स इन द डोमेन ऑफ सोशियोलॉजी. सो विल बी टॉकिंग अबाउट दिस स्कॉलर्स और सोशियोलॉजिस्ट एज वेल. सो फर्स्ट विल स्टार्ट विद व्हाट इज पॉजिटिविज्म. See, positivism basically means the application of scientific method or scientific methodology, scientific spirit or scientific approach in the domain of sociology. So this is the basic definition of positivism. Positivism is the application of scientific method, scientific spirit or scientific approach in the field of sociology. That is positivism. Now the word positivism was first used by its founding father Auguste Comte. ऑगस्ट कॉम्ट को पढ़ने के लिए हमें ये देखना पड़ेगा कि व्हाई इज ही एडवोकेटिंग फॉर सर्टेन साइंटिफिक मेथड्स इन सोशियोलॉजी, व्हाट इज द रीजन बिहाइंड इट. ठीक है, सो विल बी डिस्कसिंग अबाउट दीज रीजंस. फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल वी हैव टू अंडरस्टैंड दैट द पीरियड इन विच ऑगस्ट कॉम्ट वाज राइटिंग वाज प्राइमरीली योर लेट 18th century और अर्ली 19th century, and he is writing as a French philosopher, as a French scholar or as a French sociologist, right? So somehow the conditions that were prevailing in France at that point of time, somehow this social context this social context or social milieu shaped his ideas. See, कोई भी जो आपका सोशोलॉजिस्ट है, कोई भी आप लेटर स्कॉलर्स पढ़ेंगे, उनका जो एक्सपीरियंस है, जो मिलियू और कॉन्टेक्स्ट में वो क्या है जिसको एक्सपीरियंस कर रहे हैं, राइट, दे वर एक्सपीरियंसिंग दिस मिलियू और कंटेक्स्ट, और ये जो कंडीशंस है दे विल समहाउ शेप देयर माइंडसेट और शेप देयर आइडियोलॉजी, राइट. सो मैन इज नथिंग विदाउट कल्चरल context, or man is nothing without the social, political, economic context, because these are the contexts that man experiences his life in. So somehow his ideology or the minds or ideas will be shaped by this context. So the context in which Auguste Comte was writing, we talked about it earlier. It was a kind of this was a period of domination of science, right. This was the period of modernity. This was the period of Renaissance or Enlightenment. We have already talked about these things. ठीक है. This was the period of logic and reason. And in this period, science obtained its superior status and the secularization. Here, in the Western context, secularization means the decline of religion or religious approach or religious thinking or religious mindset, or the primacy given to religion was dropped to significant levels during this period. We talked about how science criticized the approach of church, and the significance or the importance given to church was declined during these times, and science obtained superior and dominating status. So Auguste Comte is writing, and his writings is somehow depictive of this scientific, the superior and dominating status of science. And why this did happen? Why did science obtain dominating and superior status? See, there are two prime reasons behind it. First, science give a more accurate, more detailed, and more sophisticated explanation of reality. Explanation of reality or truth. ठीक है. जो रिलीजन, फिलोसफी और मेटाफिजिकल जो कंसेप्ट्स हैं उनसे बेटर एक्सप्लेनेशन देता है आपका साइंस. ठीक है. डिटेल्ड, एक्यूरेट एंड सोफिस्टिकेटेड एक्सप्लेनेशन ऑफ रियलिटी और ट्रूथ. सिंपल एग्जांपल इज, आई हैव गिवन दिस एग्जांपल बिफोर. Man is trying to understand his world. Man is trying to understand as to why certain things are happening around us, because these things are affecting him, right? So he is trying to understand these things. Now the religious explanation given for the phenomenon of rain, for instance rain. तो religion क्या rain की क्या देगा कि it is, rain is the will of God. Rain represent the personification of God. ठीक है. तो उसके पीछे एक भगवान क्रिएट कर दिया जाएगा, जैसे एक गॉड क्रिएट कर दिया जाएगा, जैसे इंद्र देवता हिंदुइज्म में. तो सिमिलरली somehow religious explanation was given in this particular manner. What science does is कि इसी का ही डिफरेंट एक्सप्लेनेशन और मोर एक्यूरेट एक्सप्लेनेशन देगा, इसकी ज़्यादा अच्छी अंडरस्टैंडिंग डेवलप करेगा. दैट रेन इज एन आउटकम ऑफ द प्रोसेस ऑफ कंडेंसेशन, एवापोरेशन एंड प्रेसिपिटेशन, एंड देयर आर सर्टेन कंडीशंस विच डेवलप विच लीड्स टू द अकरेंस ऑफ रेन, एंड दीज कैन बी प्रिडिक्टेड, राइट. तो ट्रुथ को ज़्यादा अच्छे से एक्सप्लेन कर पा रहा था आपका साइंस. सेकेंड, डोमिनेटिंग स्टेटस क्या अपीयर होगा इसका. सी, not only science is explaining truth or reality in a better or more concrete or accurate manner, but when you apply science in real or practical life, that is leading to the डेवलपमेंट ऑफ टेक्नोलॉजी। तो हमने पढ़ा इस टाइम पे वेरियस साइंटिफिक डिस्कवरीज हुई थी। ठीक है, टेक्नोलॉजी का राइज हुआ था, यहां पे इंडस्ट्रियल रेवोल्यूशन आएगी। ठीक है, वैक्सीन डेवलप करेंगे आपके एडवर्ड जेनर। ठीक है, तो ये क्या है, साइंस व्हेन अप्लाइड इन द फॉर्म ऑफ टेक्नोलॉजी इट इज मेकिंग द लाइफ ऑफ मैन बेटर, मेकिंग द लाइफ ऑफ मैन बेटर। ठीक है, तो साइंस क्या है, लाइफ चांसेस इंप्रूव कर रहा था, लॉन्जेविटी ऑफ लाइफ इंप्रूव कर रहा था, लाइफ को मोर कंफर्टेबल क्रिएट कर रहा, कंफर्टेबल बना रहा था। फॉर इंस्टेंस जब हम रेनेसेंस और डार्क एजेस के बारे में पढ़ रहे थे तो वी केम अक्रॉस this black fever or black plague which took place in Europe, and it almost wiped out almost 1/3 of the total population of Europe. Now the explanation given by church or justification given by church for this wide range deaths, miseries, sorrows, because since 1/3 of the population is wiped out, so somehow your near and dear ones, ठीक है, विल फेस डेथ। तो इसके पीछे क्या जस्टिफिकेशन देगा, व्हाई इज दिस हैपनिंग? सो चर्च सेड दैट दिस इज द wrath of God, right? And nothing you could do to prevent this thing. But when Edward Jenner discovered vaccine later on, he could describe or depict the characteristics of a virus in a much better manner, and since he could understand the nature of that particular virus, he could develop certain formulations, he could interfere in this behavior of virus and could invent a vaccine which could save the life of millions of people. So science was contributing and making the life of a man better. It was contributing to the practical and tangible benefits. ठीक है, यहाँ पे आप स्कॉलर्स को भी इन्वॉल्व कर सकते हो, गैलीलियो आए, न्यूटन आए, एडवर्ड जेनर आए, ठीक है, चार्ल्स डार्विन क्वेश्चन द एंटायर explanation of Bible, right? Bible said, and the Old Testament said that the life originated, God populated two human beings, आपका Adam and Eve, and somehow all our the later people are there. These are your primal ancestors. All of them are the progenies of Adam and Eve. But when Charles Darwin came, he dealt a much severe blow to this, the very fundamental explanation of this religious explanation of the world. He said कि life evolved, evolution took place, survival of the fittest happened, and this evolutionary theory of Charles Darwin, it dealt a severe blow to the prestige of church. So somehow यहाँ पे क्या होगा, साइंस सुपीरियर डोमिनेटिंग स्टेटस करेगा, इट कंस्टिट्यूट अ काइंड ऑफ रेफरेंस ग्रुप। हम रेफरेंस ग्रुप के बारे में पढ़ेंगे जब आर के मर्टन के बारे में पढ़ेंगे। सी, जो बाकी जो डिसिप्लिन्स हैं, दे विल बी एडवोकेटेड फॉर द यूज ऑफ साइंस in their own dominion. They will be trying to copy the methods of science, the approach or values of science, right? मैं आपको दो टर्म्स के बारे में बताता हूँ. When we deal with economics, you must have read about liquidity. What is liquidity? Why we are using this particular term in the field of economics? Liquidity represents motion, fluidity. See, during this period, Newtonian mechanics was on its peak. So liquidity is when you are using these scientific terms in your own domain, economics, liquidity, you are talking about liquidity. So that is somehow related to this. We will talk about in the field of sociology, cybernetics, equilibrium. In also economics, people talk about equilibrium. So these terms and concepts or terminology or the approach is inculcated in the field of economics. So same, all these domains will be competing against each other for appropriating or using the methods or philosophies or the values or the spirit of science, because that is somehow they could elevate their own understanding of their own respective domains or respective truths. तो ये सुपीरियर स्टेटस के पीछे सारे डिसिप्लिन भागेंगे. अगस्ट कॉम्ट वाज नो डिफरेंट, राइट. तो अगस्ट कॉम्ट ने ही रोट अ बुक द कोर्स ऑन पॉजिटिव फिलॉसफी. ठीक है, तो आप जब फर्स्ट डिफाइन करेंगे पॉजिटिविज्म को, दैट पॉजिटिविज्म इज द एप्लीकेशन ऑफ द साइंटिफिक मेथड और स्पिरिट ऑफ अप्रोच इन द डोमेन ऑफ सोशियोलॉजी, एंड इट वाज द टर्म वाज फर्स्ट coined by the Auguste Comte, the founding father of sociology. He mentioned the use of scientific method in his book The Course on Positive Philosophy. ठीक है. सी आपके जो ऑगस्ट कॉम्ट होंगे वो जो टर्म यूज करेंगे इनिशियली, ही इनिशियली नॉट यूज द टर्म सोशियोलॉजी, ठीक है, फॉर दिस न्यू डिसिप्लिन. इनफैक्ट ही टर्म्ड इट एज फिजिक्स, सोशल फिजिक्स. ठीक है. बाद में उन्होंने क्या है इसको टर्म दिया सोशियोलॉजी, एंड सोशियोलॉजी अकॉर्डिंग टू हिम इज द साइंटिफिक स्टडी ऑफ सोसाइटी. राइट. इनफैक्ट व्हाट ही सेड कि सोशियोलॉजी इज द क्वीन ऑफ ऑल साइंसेस. ठीक है. जो हिरार्की ऑफ साइंसेस है उसकी एपेक्स पे बैठेगी सोशियोलॉजी. सोशियोलॉजी लाइज एट द टॉप और एपेक्स ऑफ इन द हिरार्की ऑफ sciences. See, he is not just using the scientific method in the domain of sociology. In fact, he is saying that the field of sociology is superior to all other sciences. When we'll be talking about Auguste Comte later, when we'll be dealing with the theories and ideas of Auguste Comte, the laws he propounded. Later on, we'll be talking about Auguste Comte when we dealing or studying various sociologists. राइट. तो फर्स्ट मेथड, तो व्हाई डिड ही एडवोकेटेड, व्हाट वाज द रीजन, हमने ये पढ़ लिया. ठीक है. लेट अस टर्म दिस एज ए. द फर्स्ट रीजन एज टू व्हाई अगस्ट कॉम्ट वाज रनिंग बिहाइंड साइंटिफिक मेथड एंड व्हाई ही एडवोकेटेड फॉर द यूज ऑफ साइंटिफिक मेथड इन द डोमेन ऑफ सोशियोलॉजी. सेकेंड रीजन, सी हमने पढ़ा था जब साइंस के बारे में पढ़ रहे थे तो साइंस के हमने गोल्स देखे थे. ठीक है. वी टॉक्ड अबाउट द गोल्स ऑफ साइंस, व्हाट आर द ऑब्जेक्टिव्स और एम्स ऑफ साइंस. और हमने देखा कि साइंस का फर्स्ट ऑब्जेक्टिव है अंडरस्टैंडिंग एंड एक्सप्लेनेशन ऑफ रियलिटी. राइट. तो this is the first goal of science. Once you have understood the reality, then you will be able to predict it in a better manner. ठीक है. Second is prediction. And the third is control or intervention. सिंपल एग्जाम्पल से मैं आपको समझाता हूं. द एग्जाम्पल ऑफ रेन. साइंस क्या पहले अंडरस्टैंड करेगा, एक्सप्लेन करेगा. ठीक है. व्हाट इज रेन, हाउ डज दिस फिनोमिनन ऑफ रेन अकर, कंडेंसेशन, एवापोरेशन, प्रेसिपिटेशन. और आप उसको फर्दर डेवलप करोगे, देन यू कुड ऑल्सो टॉक अबाउट प्रेशर डिफरेंसेज एंड विंड्स एंड द राइज ऑफ कन्वेक्टिव करंट्स, राइट, फॉर्मेशन ऑफ क्लाउड्स एंड सो फॉर्थ. The first is the understanding and explanation of truth. Second is prediction. So once you have understood the phenomena, you know what kind of conditions trigger this phenomenon. So you could actually predict when rain is going to happen. There are certain weather models, right? तो weather का जो prediction होता है that is nothing but this. एंड द थर्ड इज कंट्रोल. हाउ कुड यू कंट्रोल रेन? आज के टाइम पे हम पढ़ते हैं सिल्वर आयोडाइड, AgI, क्लाउड सीडिंग, आर्टिफिशियल रेन के बारे में. सो वंस वी हैव अंडरस्टूड रेन, डस्ट पार्टिकल जो न्यूक्लियर आता है उस पर आपका जो आपका एवोपरेशन होगा, व्हेन इट विल condense around this nuclei, it will gain certain weight, it will fall down, it will fall down in the form of rain. So once you have understood this, so you could actually interject, or you could actually produce artificial rain, that is cloud seeding in cloud. So this is the use of science. Now this is the similar thing Auguste Comte wants to use in the domain of sociology. See here, he will be talking about that society. First, we'll be understanding what society is, what is human behavior, what are social phenomena. Once we have understood various dimensions, concepts, or the processes in which this society is organized, right? This society is structured. Once we have understood this, once we have understood society, we could actually interject or control. Now this control is not negative in nature. In fact, it is rather opposite. That is why the use of the word positivism. What is positivism? Why we call it positivism? See, there are two explanations behind this, and this is the second explanation that I am giving. This is not the prime explanation, but this is somehow construed as a form of explanation. Why is it called as positivism? So Auguste Comte said, once we have done scientific study of society, once we have understood society, then what we could do is we could read society of all its evil. Right? We could read society of its diseases or the things which plagues the society. Now, when we were in the very first lecture, we talked about the, I think second or third lecture, we talked about the application or uses of sociology. Why do we study sociology? Since once you could understood these evils or the ills that society faces, for example, poverty, communalism, unemployment, once you have understood these causes or this phenomenon, right, the reasons behind it in a scientific manner, like a scientist, you could interject or control these things. ठीक है, you could reform the society, and that is why it is called as positivism. But this is the secondary explanation. This is the main, not the main explanation why it is called as positivism. Now, why is he focusing so much on betterment of society? First of all, sociology is still in its nascent stage, in infancy. The domain of sociology has not gained any institutional flavor. There are no universities studying or teaching sociology till now, at the time of Auguste Comte. The first department of sociology will be developed by Emile Durkheim after 50, 60, 70 years after Auguste Comte, right? So that is why he says the sociology lies at the top hierarchy, apex, or it is the queen of all the sciences, because it will have a positivist contribution to society. It will reform the society. It will make the society better. It will make the society better by getting rid of all these evils. See, one thing is common between Auguste Comte and the subsequent functionalists. They are talking about social order. He also have a concern for social order, for the maintenance and survival of society, right? See, during Auguste Comte times, what was happening is there were various ills in society. When we read about modernity generated certain negatives, right? हमने पढ़ा था, और कंजर्वेटिव्स का क्या रिएक्शन आया था? डी बोनल, डी मस्टन ने क्या बोला था? कलेक्टिविज्म वाज रिप्लेस्ड बाय इंडिविजुअलिज्म. ठीक है, solidarity disappeared, individualism arrived. When everyone is individualistic, when everyone is driven by their own selfish egos, self-interest, but the society is based on cooperation, coordination, right, between its different constituent parts or the individuals, right? So when everyone is driven by his her own selfish or egoistic interest, ठीक है, when the collective morality is replaced by individual preferences or individual egoistic interests, so somehow during this period moral degeneration of France was taking place. और similarly डोरखाइम का भी यही व्यू होगा, और डोरखाइम भी इसीलिए पॉजिटिविज्म के बारे में बात करते हैं. ही इज अ काइंड ऑफ अ person who is also want to maintain social order in society, right? Moral degeneration हो रही थी. इंडस्ट्रियल रेवोल्यूशन जब आया तो इकोनॉमिक सिस्टम पूरा चेंज कर गया था, वास्ट स्केल चेंजेस हो रहे थे. हमने देखा कि जो आपका इकोनॉमिक बेस चेंज हो रहा था, इकोनॉमिक्स चेंज हो रही थी, तो उसकी वजह से सोशल स्ट्रक्चर में भी वास्ट चेंजेस वर टेकिंग प्लेस, राइट? फैमिली, टाइप ऑफ फैमिली वाज चेंजिंग, कल्चर वाज चेंजिंग, रिलीजन वाज काइंड ऑफ डिसअपियरिंग और द वैल्यू रिलीजन वाज डिसअपियरिंग. Vast scale changes were taking place. And third is political, also in the political sphere. हमने देखा कि फ्रेंच रिवोल्यूशन आया. सिंस जो रिवोल्यूशन आती है, रिवोल्यूशन क्रिएट्स केओस और एनार्की इन सोसाइटी, बिकॉज रिवोल्यूशन क्या है, क्वेश्चन करती है एग्जिस्टिंग सोशल ऑर्डर और द वे इन विच एग्जिस्टिंग थिंग्स आर ऑर्गेनाइज्ड और स्ट्रक्चर्ड, एग्जिस्टिंग पावर रिलेशनशिप्स को क्वेश्चन करती है रिवोल्यूशन. दैट इज व्हाई रिवोल्यूशन वांट्स टू ब्रिंग इन रेडिकल और लार्ज स्केल चेंजेस. तो फ्रेंच रिवोल्यूशन क्या है, पॉलिटिकल स्फेयर में चेंजेस लेके आया, लेकिन इट क्रिएटेड पॉलिटिकल इंस्टेबिलिटी इन फ्रांस. सो सिंस पॉलिटिकल इंस्टेबिलिटी इन फ्रांस वॉज क्रिएटेड, आप पढ़ोगे वर्ल्ड हिस्ट्री में पढ़ोगे, फ्रेंच रिवोल्यूशंस आई, ठीक है, 1848 की रिवोल्यूशन आई, 1830s की रिवोल्यूशन आई, और मल्टीपल रिवोल्यूशंस वर टेकिंग प्लेस. वन पॉलिटिकल सिस्टम वाज फॉलिंग डाउन, अनदर वाज रिप्लेसिंग इट. तो फ्रांस में क्या मल्टीपल पॉलिटिकल रिजीम्स आएंगे इस टाइम के दौरान, ठीक है. 10 to 12 टाइम्स पॉलिटिकल 50 आपका विद इन ए स्पैन ऑफ 30 to 40 ईयर्स 10 to 12 टाइम्स क्या पॉलिटिकल चेंजेस वर टेकिंग प्लेस. तो पॉलिटिकल इंस्टेबिलिटी थी. तो when D. Bonald और D. Mustier were talking about conservatism, going back to the past, renouncing these changes, Auguste Comte said no, these changes are in fact positive or better. What we could do is we could understand these changes. Since we could understand the changes, we could manage these changes. We could make these changes positive, and we will ensure progress of society. And these changes, according to Auguste Comte, were progressive in nature. They were irreversible in nature. You can't go back to the past. So this was the second reason why he was advocating for the use of positivism in the field of sociology. ठीक है. तो scientific method, very simple example. आप बीमार पड़ते हो, you go to a doctor. डॉक्टर क्या सबसे पहले डायग्नोस करता है, व्हाट इज द प्रॉब्लम बिहाइंड इट, तो अंडरस्टैंड करने को, डायग्नोसिस करने की कोशिश करता है. तो पॉजिटिविज्म क्या है, डायग्नोसिस करेगा सोसाइटी को, अंडरस्टैंड करने की कोशिश करेगा. और आफ्टर दैट वंस ही अंडरस्टूड द रूट कॉज ऑफ योर डिजीज, देन ही विल try to intervene, he will try to make certain prescriptions. That is why when we were talking about the introduction of sociology, we say sociology is descriptive as well as prescriptive in nature. So here it is descriptive, when it will understand or explain social phenomena, and here it is prescriptive, when it will be trying to get rid of all these evils, right? The same way, this was the aim of Auguste Comte is for the betterment of society. So you could say he was not a positivist because the value neutrality kind of rejects that kind of. Value neutrality says you can't be driven by a certain goal. All you could do is observe the facts and report these facts and come to a certain conclusion. You should not have any particular motive in order to understand the reality, right? Anyway, so this was the second reason as to why Comte was advocating for the use of positivism. सी हमने बोला कि पॉजिटिविज्म यूवर्ड के यूज हुआ, तो वन वाज दिस this explanation. The prime explanation is positivism comes from the word positive. ठीक है, positive is a French word and Auguste Comte was a French. तो positive का मतलब होता है कि to see the world in a particular manner. मतलब it means you are perceiving the world, you are trying to understand the world. तो same it is something like that. Positivism is you will understand the social reality. The third major cause why he is advocating for the use of positivism in the field of sociology. See, he wanted to carve out a separate domain of sociology, and then he is trying to give it a superior status. It is the lies at the hierarchy, or it lies at the top or the apex position of the hierarchy of sciences. So here when he is trying to carve out a separate domain, why do you need sociology? What will it study? See, political science also deals with human behavior, political behavior. Psychology deals with human behavior at the psychological or individual level. Philosophy also talks about certain concepts. Economics also talks about these things. So there was certain kind of overlap. Then why do you need sociology? So here he says कि sociology, since it uses positivism or scientific method, and philosophy do not use it. Philosophy is involved in the metaphysical explanation of truth. Right? But sociology will use post-scientific method, and sociology will be talking about or explanation of reality or human behavior in a concrete, accurate and scientific manner. Right? More detailed, sociology will be giving the more detailed, sophisticated explanation of social reality or human behavior or social phenomenon. Second, he also wanted to separate it from psychology, and that is why he was talking about social order. He was not giving importance to individual at all. He is already giving a primacy to the social over the individual. So that is how you could separate it from philosophy. See, these kind of things also you could see when we will be talking about Durkheim. These kind of things will come up, right? Especially about this, the difference between philosophy, psychology and sociology. That is why I did not talk about sociology and its relationship with other disciplines, because once you will be thorough with the field of, with the entire syllabus of sociology, then we could attack this topic from multiple dimensions. We could use various scholars, we could use various sociologies, we could use multiple dimensions, right? So that is why the nature scopes of sociology, or sociology and common sense, or for that matter sociology and its relationship with other social sciences, could only be given justifications once you have gone through the other topics, right? So this is Auguste Comte, positivism. अब हम डिस्कस करेंगे ऑल दिस फीचर्स. यूनिवर्सल थियरीज पॉसिबल है, ऑब्जेक्टिविज्म पॉसिबल है, एक्सपेरिमेंटेशन पॉसिबल है, वैल्यू न्यूट्रलिटी पॉसिबल है, और हम वेरियस सोशोलॉजिस्ट भी इंक्लूड करेंगे जिन्होंने इनको जस्टिफाई किया है. देन कॉजेशन के बारे में बात करेंगे. वंस वी हैव टॉक्ड अबाउट दीज थिंग्स, then we could say that positivism is indeed possible in the field of sociology. See, अब हम पढ़ते हैं फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल कि ह्यूमन बिहेवियर इज इट दैट मच प्रेडिक्टेबल कैट वी कुड अप्लाई साइंटिफिक मेथड इन द फील्ड ऑफ सोशोलॉजी. ठीक है, तो फर्स्ट विल बी looking at whether universal theories or generalizations are possible in the field of sociology, and those generalizations could only take place when the behavior of human is predictable in nature, right? You could analyze it against and against. When the human behavior is repeated and routine, then only you could come up with universal theories, right? See, साइंस की जब हम बात करते हैं तो हम देखते हैं कि जो मैटर का जो बिहेवियर है, बिहेवियर ऑफ मैटर, ठीक है, मैटर ऑलवेज बिहेव इन अ प्रिडिक्टेबल मैनर, ठीक है, इट इज ऑलवेज स्टैटिक बिहेवियर, ठीक है, एंड इट विल ऑलवेज बिहेव इन एन आइडेंटिकल मैनर इन सेम सिचुएशंस, ठीक है. नाउ लेट अस से कि जब आप स्टिमुलाई अप्लाई करोगे इस पे, मैटर के बिहेवियर पे कोई स्टिमुलस डालोगे, ठीक है, तो अगर स्टिमुलस सेम स्टिमुलस डालोगे तो हर टाइम वो आइडेंटिकली उसको बिहेव करना ही है, ठीक है, ठीक है. तो सिंस द बिहेवियर इज रिपीटेटिव इन नेचर, it is predictable, it is identical, it is routine, then you could use inductive method. जब ये बिहेवियर बार बार रिपीट होगा, आप उस पर जब एक्सटर्नल लॉजिक यूज करोगे तो आप एक सर्टेन यूनिवर्सल थियरी पे पहुंच सकते हो और लॉ पे पहुंच सकते हो ऑफ द बिहेवियर ऑफ मैटर. I will give you some 3-4 very simple examples. For example, positive, दो पॉजिटिव चार्जेस को साथ में लेके आएंगे, they will always repel each other. So their behavior is identical, static, repetitive and routine. अगर आप सेम स्टिमुलस दे रहे हो, they are always behaving in the same manner. Similarly, पॉजिटिव और नेगेटिव दो अपोजिट चार्जेस को लेकर आओ, they will attract, right? तो you could यहां से आप इनको करके क्या कर सकते हो, आप लॉ ऑफ स्टैटिक्स, लॉ ऑफ इलेक्ट्रोस्टैटिक्स दे सकते हैं. दीज आर एक्चुअल लॉज इन द फील्ड ऑफ फिजिक्स, राइट. सिमिलरली इलेक्ट्रॉन इज नेगेटिवली चार्ज्ड, और आप इस पे क्या है, सिंस इलेक्ट्रॉन इज नेगेटिवली चार्ज, नीचे वोल्टेज लगाओगे तो इलेक्ट्रॉन्स का फ्लो क्या हो, पर्टिकुलर डायरेक्शन में होगा, ठीक है, फ्रॉम आपका क्या है, नेगेटिव टू पॉजिटिव टर्मिनल होगा. और इट इज सीन और ऑब्जर्व्ड इलेक्ट्रॉन जिस डायरेक्शन में फ्लो करते हैं उसके ऑपोजिट डायरेक्शन में करंट फ्लो करता है. सो दिस बिहेवियर इज ऑल्सो आइडेंटिकल, स्टैटिक, प्रिडिक्टेबल, रिपीटेटिव, रूटीन. तो यहां से क्या है, आप किरचॉफ्स लॉज, सी दोज हु आर ह्यूमैनिटीज स्टूडेंट्स, दिस इज नॉट रेलिवेंट, आई एम जस्ट ट्राइंग टू मेक अ पॉइंट. किरचॉफ्स लॉज ऑफ करंट, ठीक है. देन द लॉज ऑफ थर्मोडायनेमिक्स, when you bring in two bodies closer to each other, one is relatively hotter than the other body, then after a certain point of time they will come in equilibrium, equivalence of temperature will take place and the heat will flow from the hotter body to a colder body, right? So that is law of thermodynamics. Similarly, kinetic energy, gaseous particles को, और ये आप जो ज्योग्राफी पढ़ रहे हो उनके लिए भी आप देख सकते हो रेलिवेंट है, जब गैशियस पार्टिकल्स को टेम्परेचर देते हैं, उनका टेम्परेचर बढ़ाते हैं, दे विल अटेन काइनेटिक एनर्जी, दे विल मूविंग फास्टर, तो क्या है वो एक्सपेंड करेंगे, तो वॉल्यूम एक्सपेंड करेगी. तो टेम्परेचर इंक्रीज कर रहे हो, काइनेटिक एनर्जी एक्सपेंड इंक्रीज करेगी, वॉल्यूम एक्सपेंड. तो ऐसा नहीं है टेम्परेचर इंक्रीज करेगा तो काइनेटिक एनर्जी डिक्रीज कर जाएगी. इट विल नेवर हैपन, इट विल नेवर हैपन. And the behavior of this matter is always identical. So that is why these universal theories, when you observe this behavior, ठीक है, you will come up certain universal theories or laws of in the field of science. Now our contention is that whether this is possible in the field of sociology. Do humans react in the similar manner? क्या जो human है, will they always be behaving in a predictable, static, identical, repetitive, routine manner? If they are behaving in that manner, then we could say that we could develop certain universal theories or general theories in sociology, and we could develop universal laws, right? Now the entire debate is behind this point. The positivist will try to explain, will try to draw an equivalence that this is indeed possible. and over the next 30 minutes I'll be talking about it only. Universal human behavior, why is it predictable? Why are positivists saying that the behavior is predictable in nature? It is, when you are giving a certain stimuli, it will always react in the same manner. See, what does the positivist say? That human behavior is structured, human behavior is organized, human behavior is repetitive, human behavior is patterned. पैटर्न का हमने पढ़ा था जब हम सोशल स्ट्रक्चर की बात कर रहे थे, राइट? वी स्टडीड अबाउट द पैटर्न बिहेवियर. व्हेन इट इज predictable, so the positivists say that human behavior is all these things. Positivists say कि human behavior is shaped by or driven by or constrained by universal theories, it is shaped by the norms, values, rules and regulations of society. Right? So human behavior is, since it is constrained by or it is driven or shaped by the norms, values, rules or regulations of the society, and it is always in confirmation, it is always in confirmation with these rules and regulations. Now since this is the case, we could observe this behavior and we could develop, we could impose an external logic on this behavior and we could come up with universal theories. Now thing is, why is man conforming? Why is man conforming to the rules, regulation and norms of the society? Here we'll be talking about Parsons particularly. In a general manner we will be talking, we won't be talking about the concepts of Parsons, but we'll be talking about certain things. See, and these rules or cultural values, cultural norms, it distinguishes between what is right and what is wrong behavior, or what is right and what is wrong, what is moral and what is immoral behavior. Right? There are certain do's and don'ts of societies. Right? Something is considered apt and something is considered totally inept. ठीक है? So since these rules are shaping the human behavior is constrained by the demands that the culture is putting upon a man. Now since see, why is man following or in confirmation with this? Here we will be talking about the process of socialization. There are two reasons behind as to why man behavior is structured, organized, repetitive, predictable and patterned. First is the process of socialization. See, Parsons talk about socialization and social control. So we won't be talking about Parsons in particular, we will be talking about socialization and the process of socialization, social control. See, through the process of socialization, okay, man is always under the influence of socialization. Man is always under the influence of socializing forces throughout his entire life. And it is always a continuous process. Socialization is a continuous process, and man is under the influence of this continuous process of socialization throughout his entire life, from birth to death. Right? जब आप बर्थ लेते हैं, then you are almost like an empty jug or an empty vessel, right? And you will be socialized through the various agencies of socialization. Right? ठीक है, तो socialization involves inculcation, assimilation, and internalization of cultural values or societal values and norms. ठीक है, तो फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल फैमिली, राइट? जब आप जन्म लेते हैं तो द फर्स्ट एजेंसी ऑफ सोशियोलॉजी ऑफ सोशलाइजेशन आर योर सिग्निफिकेंट अदर्स, द पीपल हु आर एक्चुअली वेरी क्लोज टू यू. ठीक है, योर पेरेंट्स, दे विल गाइड यू और दे विल इनिशियली सोशलाइज यू. ठीक है, तो मदर का रोल तो पूरा ही नर्चर का रोल होता है, राइट? नर्चरिंग द चाइल्ड, टेकिंग केयर ऑफ द चाइल्ड. ठीक है, इनकलकेशन ऑफ वैल्यूज एंड नॉर्म्स ऑफ द सोसाइटी इन द चाइल्ड. सो चाइल्ड इज ऑलमोस्ट लाइक एन एम्प्टी वेसल, एंड हेयर फैमिली इज द फर्स्ट और प्राइमरी एजेंसी ऑफ सोशलाइजेशन, राइट? अब बात करते हैं, और ये हमेशा चलता रहेगा. ठीक है, दिस प्रोसेस विल कंटिन्यू इवन इफ यू आर एन एडल्ट. ठीक है, सी देयर आर सर्टेन positive and negative reinforcements. When your parents will talk highly of you, right? When society will talk highly of you, when you will be getting appreciation, reward and recognition from your सिग्निफिकेंट एंड जनरलाइज्ड अदर्स, ये कंसेप्ट यूज करते हैं आपके मीड. व्हेन यू विल बी गेटिंग एप्रिसिएशन फ्रॉम योर नियर एंड डियर वंस, दैट इज द सिग्निफिकेंट अदर्स, योर फैमिली, योर इमीडिएट फैमिली, एंड इफ यू आर गेटिंग रिकॉग्निशन फ्रॉम द सोसाइटी इन जनरल, यू विल फील गुड, राइट? आफ्टर ऑल, मैन इज अ सोशल एनिमल एंड ही ऑलवेज एस्पायर्स फॉर रिकॉग्निशन. सो द अप्रूवल और डिसअप्रूवल, there is continuous approval, continuous disapproval. You will face through it your entire life. Continuous approval and life is all about approvals and disapprovals, and this will spread throughout the entire life. And even a stare, glance, or ridicule by your parents will put most of you on right trajectory, right? Or you might somehow rebel against it, but generally 99% of the times people crave for approvals, right? So अगर आप कुछ गलत करते हैं, there will be certain ridicule, certain expression of discontentment, certain stares, ठीक है, certain glances, certain signs of disapproval. ठीक है, so this will continuously happen, right? सो फॉर एग्जाम्पल, बहुत ही आपने एक टर्म सुनी होगी, शर्मा जी का लड़का. देर इज सम आइडियल बॉय अराउंड हेयर, द शर्मा जी का लड़का, एंड ही इज an expert in all the fields. He is a very cultured boy. He's particularly very intelligent. He is doing good in studies. He's involved in various extracurricular activities as well. So he is all talented. So you should aspire to be that person. Second, हम बोलते हैं कि कभी कोई रिबेलियस टर्न हो जाता है, उसके बारे में टर्म यूज क्या किया जाता है, लड़का या लड़की हाथ से निकल गया. हाथ से मतलब सोशल, वो जो कंट्रोल है, ठीक है, जो सोशलाइजेशन के थ्रू और ये जो पॉजिटिव और नेगेटिव रीइंफोर्समेंट के थ्रू आप क्या है एक्सरसाइज कर रहे हो, दैट, सो दीज कॉमन टर्मिनोलॉजीज, दैट इज व्हाई आई एम सेइंग कि मैन इज ऑलवेज अंडर द इन्फ्लुएंस ऑफ द सोशलाइजिंग फोर्सेज थ्रू आउट हिज एंटायर. इट इज अ कंटिन्यूअस प्रोसेस एंड इट इज अ वेरी सटल प्रोसेस. Through the use of common sense, you won't be able to understand it, you won't be able to admire it, right? You won't be able to critically reflect on it. So that is why this is the first the important difference between sociology and common sense. Second, same socialization takes place at school. Now what does school teaches us? School teaches us confirmation, obedience, submission, discipline, right? Punctuality. So school भी एक क्या है, it is a kind of sociology, it is kind of socialization agencies, and school is lying in a social context. So school will be the entire curriculum of the school will be based on or enforcement of these social values, norms, the things which you require to grow up in the world and to achieve success in it. So it is always all about confirmation, obedience, submission, confirmation or discipline, right? So your hair should be in particular way, your tie should be like that, there is a proper dress code for it, you should go to school on time, right? Then there are exams, the positive and negative reinforcement to award you or reward you. Then there are punishments, right? So school is an agency of socialization. It is a kind of a factory which is producing confirming individuals, right? And the very premises of success in school are actually trying to make you a part of a society, how to deal with it, how to deal, or how to for example, school talks about performance. Similarly, work culture also talks about performance, right? So this is similarly, even your peers, your friends, or your in an adult age, your working peers, right? So there is a certain kind of a group dynamism that acts. Okay? If you want to be a part of your group of friends, there has to be certain synergy, coordination, or certain conformity to the group dynamics, right? You have to, in order to develop this synergy, you have to have some common ground or some common understanding of the rules of interaction with each other, right? So your peers will always be kind of continuous agency of socialization. Your friends will be a continuous agency of socialization. Mead actually talks about it. Mead talks about game stage and play stage. Play stage is when you are actually an infant or a small child. Then certain kind of behaviorisms, the manner which a child should emulate, they are inculcated in they are absorbed or assimilated by the child. For example, girl is always required to wear particular set of clothes. She always have to comport herself in a particular manner, she always has to play with dolls. So the socialization or the very upbringing of the child is taking place in that particular manner. Whereas boys have to wear different set of clothes. Their behavior should be different. Their behavior should not be actually conforming like the girls. They should be more naughty. The naughty child are appreciated in childhood. For example, Krishna was a very naughty child, and it was, people kind of loved him. Similarly, boys have to play with manly toys. They can't play with dolls. So from the very beginning, you are structured, molded, or shaped by culture, and this process is continuous bombarding of these cultural values, norms. Continuously it is happening, right? And it will always happen. It will always happen throughout your entire life. So that is why society is a kind of a factory which is kind of producing or molding the people in a certain way. When we talk about identities, why do we talk about identities? Gender identity. Because the very identity of that person is constructed from the beginning to the last in a particular way. And if a person tries to be disconfirming, then the social control will step in. I was reading in a political and economic weekly recently, and the topic was about Adivasi or tribal women. Now the thing is, a woman should always be married, and the woman who got divorced or who somehow got widowed, they were always accused of witch hunting, or their moral character was judged when they were single. So this kind of social control, this kind of disapproval, making you trying to conform with the social. See, these norms, first of all, these are completely internalized. So once these are internalized, people actually believe in them, right? They become a part of your identity. They become a part of your identity. That very development of self, Mead talks about development of self. The very development of self takes place in a particular manner. Your upbringing is happening. Okay. So the man himself have a strong commitment to these values. Okay. He's always trying to conform to them. He's also trying to enforce it on others, right? Making others conform to this, right? And this is a very internal part of yourself. It is internal to you. It is completely internalized or assimilated. Right? So when it is completely internalized, you have a strong commitment. You have certain belief or faith in your cultural values and norms, right? So this, even though it is imposed, you are constrained by it, but it will become a matter of habit. Okay? You will be voluntarily following it. Through your own volition, it will become voluntary, right? So because, see, coercion does not work in a persistent, or you could say sustainable. It is not sustainable coercion. People will only emulate behaviors or only accept to commands only when they will only themselves believe in it, right? When they will themselves follow it, when they are themselves committed or internalized it. See, it is a complete part of your identity, the very self of it. So it is not kind of coercive. You are doing it voluntarily. That is why it is sustainable. So once this happens, again, you will be doing all these things. You will be right, you will be moral, you will be do's, your behavior will be apt. Now you could always say There are certain definitely pathological behaviors in society. So let us talk about it. Certain deviance in society, certain criminal elements in behavior, and why are these elements called as sorry, anti-social elements? Anti-social, they are anti-society because they have completely rejected these and they are following these. That is why they are called as anti-social elements. But how many? We are a nation of billion people, almost 4 billion people, and how much actually crime is prevalent? If you compare it population wise, it will be 0.0001 of the total percentage of the population. So 99.99% of the people are actually conforming, right? So even this happens in science also. Certain laws are just utopian or idealistic in nature. For example, Boyle's law of gases. Boyle law actually talks about this. Ki actual conditions are certainly different than the utopian gas law, but it acts as a kind of a reference. There are certain exceptions in science also. So this is my view of justifying this, and there will be counter objections to it that we'll study about when we'll talking about non-positivistic or the critique of positivism. Now let us talk about certain examples of socialization or the social conformity. See, until and unless you have a common understanding of the norms of the society, commitment to the norms of the society, then and only then the society of billions of individuals will be able to cooperate with each other. Otherwise, there will be total chaos or anarchy in society. Social order will be completely disrupted, right? So there has to be certain sense of cooperation, and this cooperation comes from the underlying values, norms, or collective norms of the society. So that makes the cooperation possible in society. See, the first example is a very simple example of socialization and social control. I'll be talking about social control also. First very simple example is you are traveling in a metro. Actually saw a video a few years back where two people were actually engaged in public display of affection. They were actually kind of kissing each other in metro, and an auntie came and scolded them. What would your parents say? They don't know about it, right? Then this is a matter of social control. You are required, because since you are living in a particular culture, you have to behave in a particular manner. You have to comport yourself according to the demands and expectations of others. Right? But this does not happen in a foreign metro because their culture is very different. They have different set of demands and expectations. They have different set of cultural norms and values. So their kissing in a public place is totally, or public display of affection is totally apt, but not in the Indian society, right? So this is the first example. Now second example is, you are a smoker. You have certain craving for smoking. You boarded the metro and you want to smoke in a metro. But you won't smoke in metro because the entire social setting is like this. You are being a cultured man, you know about the demands and expectations of others from you. And plus also, you also believe in these demands and expectations. You have a firm commitment to the cultural values, norms and society, because you are also kind of cultured in a particular way. Your upbringing took place in a particular manner. Now, first of all, even though it is your instinct or desire, right, that is what you want to do, but you can't do it in a social setting, in a public place, in a metro. So this is how, even within the entire metro, even 100 people have a craving for smoking, no one will smoke. Why is this cooperation? You could say structured, repetitive, routine behavior. Second example is this. Third is, see, before entering the temple, people always remove their slippers, because temple is the domain of purity. Your slippers contain pollution. So temple is the domain of the sacred, it is the domain of the utmost pure. And you know that your parents have brought you in a certain manner. और आपके हमेशा ऐसा हुआ होगा कि कभी ना कभी आपकी मम्मी ने डांटा होगा, नहा के आओ, मंदिर में आओ, राइट, नहाने के बाद मंदिर में आओ, या फिर अगर मिठाई आती है दिवाली पे, सबसे पहले उसको खाओ, मतलब सबसे पहले भगवान का भोग चढ़ेगा. सो दिस सोशलाइजेशन ऑफ योर ऑलरेडी टुक प्लेस. You believe in that particular kind of socialization. That is why you are removing the slippers outside temple, and it is a very subtle or subconscious kind of activity. It is almost kind of an automative, like a machine kind of activity, like a matter kind of activity. You are subconsciously behaving in a routine, repetitive manner. And after that, even after that, there is a domain of social, because you know what are the demands and expectations of the religious priest or the followers in the temple. Right? So these kind of social constraints always act. A very simple example of changing culture. See, in the ancient times, people of different caste can't interdine, right? Or the people of the Brahmins and Shudras, they can't interdine. Now, Andre Bete talks about in the changing nature of caste and politics. Changing nature of caste, ठीक है? He talks about how in the modern times the caste values and norms are breaking down, because men are cultured in a different kind of manner. We are having different kind of cultural values, caste values. Caste has somehow metamorphosized itself. It has changed its form and shape. Now, in a college canteen or an office space, if you will say, I want to be having dinner, or I want to be having a lunch with a Dalit, it will bring a certain kind of shame, ridicule, glances by the people. It might you might be thrown out of your job, right? So you know the demands and expectations of others. You know what is the social, cultural, or the economic setting. So you are behaving in that particular manner. Okay? So that is how, even though you desire, but you won't be able to act on it. First is the very process. Most of the things you don't desire, 99% of the time you will be confirming, because you have an absolute commitment to the cultural values and norms, because you have themselves your upbringing or assimilation or internalization of cultural values and norms and taking place in that particular manner, right? Now, second thing is, once we are talking about socialization, second thing is social control. See, we have talked about positive and negative reinforcements. This is a method of social control. We have talked about rewards and punishment. This is a method of social control, right? So we have talked about positive and negative reinforcement, reward and punishment. These are the mechanisms or tools of social control, right? Now, this always happens. You have state apparatus. You have police, you have army to rein in any, you have law to rein in any deviant or pathological behavior, right? Most of the people definitely act in a certain kind of manner because they are aware of the consequences. They are aware of the consequences. They are aware of the negative reinforcement. They are aware of the punishment. So there are certain tools, mechanisms of social control which kind of constrains human behavior, right? So there are certain state apparatus. If you do any criminal behavior, you will be put behind bars, right? And there is an army. If you are involved in certain kind of insurgency, there is an army personnel to deal with you. You must have heard about social boycotts. Right? You must have heard about social boycotts, caste exclusion. ठीक है. If a particular Brahmin will not be conforming to the caste values or norms, if he will not be behaving or comporting himself in a particular manner, right? He will want to be following the rules of the caste. He will be socially boycotted. He will be excluded from the caste. See, in previous times, the entire existence was based upon caste values, because caste was linked to your occupation, and you are living in a self-sufficient village. The very livelihood, you derive your livelihood from occupation, which is derived from caste, and you sold your products to your fellow members of the village. Once you are excluded from the village, you will be living in a state of misery, poverty, hunger and starvation. So this was a kind of a very total kind of social control. That is why caste flourished for so many years, for thousands of years in India. Why did it happen? For this very reason. We have talked about Kha Panchayats. Kha Panchayats also क्या करते हैं वो? They also advocating for social control. ठीक है. जब वो बोलते हैं certain negative judgments they pass. For example, girls won't be allowed to wear jeans. Girls won't be able to use mobile phones. These were certain kinds of dictates passed by Kha Panchayats. So this is a kind of a social control, right? Then honor killings. Why do honor killings take place? Because you are violating the norms of the society. You are violating, you are undermining the very honor or the pride of the family, or the family is existing in a caste or in a village structure. You can't marry member of a same village, because that will be marrying like, because they are considered brothers and sisters, right? So you have to follow certain norms of caste endogamy, right? Otherwise, that is why honor killings took place. The killings for restoring the pride and honor, right? So these are kind of various mechanisms, tools or social controls that are there in the society, right? So first is the process social, then there is social control, and that is how we could say the behavior could be structured, repeated and organized, right? Now let us talk about certain sociologists. See, first of all हम देख लेते हैं कि since human behavior since the sociologists have established that the human behavior is static and organized. And once it is static and organized, since it is regulated by the cultural values, norms of the society, enforced through the process of socialization and social control, then we could study or develop an external logic. We could observe this behavior, we could develop an external logic on this behavior. So since this is static or organized, structured and patterned, it is repetitive in nature, then through the use of inductive method, we could make certain generalizations about it. Once we have made certain generalizations about it, then it means you have discovered a theory, you have discovered a universal law or theory, laws and theories of human behavior. Now who talks about it? What sociologists talk about it? First of all, let us talk about Durkheim. What Durkheim says. See, Durkheim यही बोलते हैं, Emile Durkheim. He talks about sociology being the study of social facts, right? What are social facts? We'll be talking about it later. बस आप just ये जान लीजिए. He says these social facts, ठीक है, are external to the individual, external to the individual, right? For example, caste has an existence of its own. Caste was there, you are born into caste, you are born into particular religion, right? It was there even before you were born. So that you are born in a particular caste or in a particular religion. So these social facts are external to you. But these facts, caste and religion, they exercise constraint on your behavior. Right? They exercise constraint on your behavior. You have to behave in a particular manner. We have already talked about it. And this acceptance of social fact is completely voluntarily. This acceptance of social fact is voluntary because through the process of socialization, man has internalized and assimilated these social facts. See, these are external to the individual, but through the process of socialization, you have internalized caste, but it is still separate. You have assimilated caste norms and values, and you believe in these caste norms and values. ठीक है. Durkheim says man is guided by collective thinking, collective feeling, right, and collective acting because of the conscience collective. ठीक है. Man is always conforming to conscience collective. See, in crude manner, we could say at this point of time, because we have not studied Durkheim yet, that conscience collective is the collective morality of the society, right? It is the collective conscience of the society, right? So man is always conforming to it. Man is absolutely committed to it. Right? So this is what Durkheim says why universal theories could be possible. Since the nature is confirming, man is committed to the conscience collective, right? Similarly, पार्सन्स हमने ऑलरेडी देखा, सोशलाइजेशन और सोशल कंट्रोल के थ्रू you could say कि man is confirming, right? Similarly, Parsons, what does Parsons says? Man's behavior is driven by, human behavior is shaped by, here human behavior is shaped by conscience collective. Here what is saying, human behavior is shaped by demands of social system. ठीक है. Why is he talking about social system? We'll be dealing about it later. But at the present moment, we have already talked about it in the first lecture. We have talked about the difference between social institution, social structure, and social system. So he says, just like in our body, we have different parts and subparts. For example, our brain does certain functions, heart does certain kind of functions, kidney has certain functions. Kidney is involved in filtration processes, right? Removing toxic or waste substances. Heart is used in the pumping of blood. Stomach is for digestion, right? Intestines are for absorption of food, and so on and so forth. So here, since each and every sub part of the human body is important. If your heart fails, you will die. If your brain fails, you will immediately go into the vegetative state. You will immediately go into coma. Your kidney fails, you need a new kidney. Liver fails, similarly you are gonna die, right? So similarly, social system of the society has various parts and subparts. These could be economic, political, social system, but there could be different systems. We'll be talking about it. But at this point of time, you could understand that since we are part of a human individuals pertain certain roles and functions. Human beings are a part of these. Human beings are an important constituent of these subparts. Since these subparts are important for maintenance and survival of society, isn't it? Just like your heart is important for your body and maintenance survival, similarly these subparts are important for maintenance survival of the society. Now see, since they are important, these subparts perform certain functional prerequisites. They have to perform certain functions, right? Just like heart pumps your blood, similarly these parts perform certain functions for the maintenance and survival of society. And man being part of this, man being an important constituent of these subsystems or subparts, these parts demand certain kind of conformity, certain kind of way in which man should behave, right? Man is required to behave in a particular manner in a society. That is how society cooperation is possible, right? This is the third thing. Then why we are talking about this? See, one is socialization, social control. Second is the demand of social system. Third is saying कि man is also driven by value consensus. ठीक है. What are values? ठीक है. See, हम वैल्यू न्यूट्रलिटी पढ़ेंगे, उसमें डिटेल में पढ़ेंगे कि वैल्यूज और नॉर्म्स में क्या डिफरेंस है. सी, वैल्यूज आर जनरल गाइडलाइंस ऑफ सोसाइटी. वैल्यू इज समथिंग which a certain society considers important, desirable, good. That is being valued. That is why we are using the term values. So these are certain guidelines of behavior. Since all the members, since the entire society values, right, certain things which are considered important, desirable. So all the constituents of the society, the members of the society, the individuals of the society consider these things as important. These values are important, and all of these members are driven by these values. They are always behaving in a manner to achieve these values. So that is why through value consensus, because you are in the same ground, you are admiring the same kind of values, you are cutting same set of things, you are you are valuing them, you are considering them good and desirable. So all of your action, all the behavior is driven to achieve these values, right? For example, in American society, values of success, merit, achievement, okay, it is considered, these are the values of American society's success. Now all the members of the American society in the capitalist, they are driven by capitalism. So your success is defined in terms of your money you have. So there it is, those people who are valued, who can earn money, who can achieve success, the Mark Zuckerbergs, ठीक है, हम रोहन पिचाई की बात करते हैं, गूगल CEO, राइट, then Steve Jobs, these kind of people who are the kind of people who are being valued in the American society, right? So all these members of the societies, they have a same commitment towards these values. So that is why these values act as a kind of an abstract guidelines, general guidelines for your behavior. Whereas in different society, for example, when you're talking about Sioux Indians, these were ancient societies. Sioux Indians, they valued bravery. They did not value money. So rewards in that kind of society act as a kind of motivation for behavior. So in that kind of society, since bravery was appreciated, bravery was valued, it was the most important value a person could have, because if the Sioux would not have been brave, their entire society would have been disintegrated. They might have been attacked by some adjacent tribes. So their bravery was the most important value. So man is rewarded in terms of these values. So there is certain value consensus, cooperation, coordination in society due to value consensus, and man, all the people, most of the people are driven towards these values, right? So that is how your behavior is shaped, because you are committed to achieving, or these values are committed to these values. So through value consensus, cooperation, coordination, and stability in society could be achieved. So this is how Parsons talk about static human behavior. This is how Durkheim talks about static human behavior. See, even Marx says, Karl Marx says कि behavior, human behavior is shaped by infrastructure or economics, ठीक है, और द बेस ऑफ द सोसाइटी, ये क्या होता है इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर, बेस, मोड ऑफ प्रोडक्शन? तो ही सेज ह्यूमन बिहेवियर इज शेप्ड बाय मोड ऑफ प्रोडक्शन. ह्यूमन बिहेवियर, ही सेज मैन इन ऑर्डर टू ईट, this is the kind of quote you could use, man in order to survive must eat, and in order to eat he must produce, and to produce man engages in production relations, ठीक है. Production is a collective enterprise. Since production is a collective enterprise, man is engaged in production relations, ठीक है. Manager, blue collar worker, different kind of production relations man kind of enter in, ठीक है. So your behavior is shaped by these demands of the infrastructure. बाद में समझ में आएगा, ठीक है. Also he says that being determines consciousness. This is called as dialectic materialism. He says the economic base or the materialistic values और द मटेरियलिज्म इन सोसाइटी, ठीक है, इन द मटेरियलिस्टिक रियलिटी अराउंड अ ह्यूमन बीइंग, दिस काइंड ऑफ shapes his experiences, shapes his consciousness. So you believe what you see, right? So this is what Marx argued. His conception was in contradiction or was in criticism of Hegelian concept of idealism. हम पढ़ेंगे बाद में. Hegelian talked about the different thing. Hegel talked about that mind generates the ultimate reality, right? We'll be talking about Hegel, ठीक है. So all the products of the natural or social world are creation of the mind of the people. So he says consciousness determines being. Hegel. Marx says beings determine consciousness. So somehow your behavior is shaped by your economic infrastructure. Also your experiences, behavior will also be shaped by your class position, ठीक है. क्लास पोजीशन, आपके जो इकोनॉमिक स्ट्रक्चर, क्लास स्ट्रक्चर में आपकी कौन सी क्लास पोजीशन है, ठीक है. हमने सोशल स्ट्रक्चर की बात की थी, वहां पे कहाँ अलाई करते हो, किस टाइप का एक्सपीरियंसेस, सराउंडिंग्स में, मटेरियलिस्टिक फोर्सेस में क्या एक्सपीरियंसेस है, दैट डिटरमाइंस योर आइडेंटिटी, दैट डिटरमाइंस शेप्स योर कॉन्शियसनेस, राइट. सो मटेरियलिज्म शेप्स ह्यूमन कॉन्शियसनेस और द बीइंग डिटरमाइंस द कॉन्शियसनेस. So since your behavior, human behavior is shaped by the economic infrastructure, so it is not somehow it is kind of static and predictable, because human behavior will all be shaped in a particular kind of way, right? एडम स्मिथ क्या बोलते हैं? मैन बिहेवियर इज रैशनल, मैन इज अ रैशनल यूटिलिटी मैक्सिमाइजर. जिसने इकोनॉमिक मॉडर्निटी का नहीं देखा, वो आप देख सकते हैं. वी टॉक्ड अबाउट इट. मैन इज अ रैशनल यूटिलिटी मैक्सिमाइजर. हिज इकोनॉमिक बिहेवियर इज ऑलवेज बी predictable. Man will try to augment or maximize his interest in an economic transactional situation. That is why man is rational. Man maximizes his utility. That is why man rational utility maximizer. Stock market, you could say, man will buy when the stock markets will crash, because you could buy cheap, and man will sell when the stock market will be at the higher value. So this is what man will be buying cheap and selling dear. This always happens in an economic transaction. Man is always trying to pursue or augment his interest. So your behavior is shaped by the economic or the material forces. So that is why you could say the human behavior is predictable. It always acts in a particular same repetitive kind of manner, and since it always acts in a same repetitive, static, organized or pattern structured manner, you could say we could, through an external logic or observation, we could use certain inductions, and we could develop generalization, universal theories or laws of human behavior, right?